Hi guys, welcome back to Creativity Incorporated. My name is Diana. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. Today in our cave, we're going to be working on binding the journal that we printed on last week. Last video we worked on experimenting on printing on different kinds of materials for book binding. And I covered this book with that print. I wanted to show you how I was going to bind it. I've done this binding before, but I just wanted to go over it again because there was a lot of questions in that video. And I'm going to do it similar, but a little different. So in this, the other way I did a spine, a leather piece of leather that I put on the spine, and that's where I put the little hooks on top. But in this case, I'm going to use these little pieces of soda can, and I'm going to use them like a sort of like a corner reinforcer, but in this case I'm going to do it as a spine reinforcer for the top. But because I thought it would look awkward just to put it on the top, I'm going to also do it on the bottom. And it's this is very simple to do. What I did is I cut 2 strips of soda can. Then from the back, before I fold the piece or the strip, I just with the piece of with the pencil tip or anything not sharp but pointy. Do you know what I mean? You mark the back from the back, and so sort of like a embossing. And so I just did a line like a little frame, so that when you putting it on the, it's not so much a decoration as a structural thing. I want it to have oh, by the way, my husband just walked right in as I needed somewhere to put that, and I said, hubby, put your hand in here. Anyways, so just that little edge that I put in from the back helps for the edges not to lift up when I glue or put the strips on the book, because aluminum is stronger than paper, but it's still like very whimsy. And so what I do is I reinforce it by making a bend on it. So by making a bend, it makes it structurally make the ends or the edges bend kind of down a little bit, and that's what prevents them from lifting, and that's what you want to do. But it also looks like a little embossed little edge and looks cute. So as you see, I'm going to put one on the top and on the bottom, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue, and I'm also going to put an eyelet on here. This glue that I use this for everything, and it holds this well enough. You know, I don't want it to, what's really going to hold it is the eyelet. I just don't want it to be moving around, and I also don't want, again, prevent the edges from lifting. So here, now do as I say, not as I did, because here I could have done the hole first, then worried about putting the glue on there. It just gunks up my machine, but a little bit of alcohol will fix it. But nevertheless, do the hole first, then take it out, put the glue, and put it back in. There you go, clearing that out. Now for the inside, I'm going to be a little bit basic. I know that in the past I've done all these like crazy stuff, but here I'm basically just focusing a lot on the binding and the little pop-up, the butterfly pop-up, rather than a lot of the decoration. So I'm going to grab 3 signatures. Every signature has 3 papers, and I'm going to hole punch half a circle. So in a sense, when you open the signature, it has a full circle. You know what I mean? So I marked the half of where the packet of the signature would be, and then I'm gonna hole punch it, like I said, half of the circle. Okay, so once you're done with that, I grabbed this wire, and this is the only gold wire I had, but I've had thicker ones before. But in any ways, I'm glad I had the thinner ones because it allows me to twist them without making a bulky wire. Twisting the wire together, well, like I grabbed the long one and I bent it in half, then I twisted it. It just makes it stronger, and I like the twist. I really do. It just looks, when you have a simple wire, it looks like a simple wire. So I enjoy when I get a chance to do the twist. It makes it more decorative. So at the end of this, at the end where I bent it, so not the tip, not the end of the wire where it's like the two splits, it's where you bent it. I need you to grab the tip with the pliers and twist it in, and that way it gives you that one little tight loop. Now I want the loop has to be tight to the rest of the wire, but not so tight, because in that little gap is where you're gonna have the book spine kind of snug in there, so that it holds the signature in there. Now there's two ways of you could do this. You could put the long part in and then come out the hole with the shorter side. Like, see, there's a shorter side that goes on the bottom. Or you could do what I did, which is put in the long side and then put have the little piece sticking out the back. And you'll probably see what I mean more as the video goes on. But make sure you also coil in the end tips, because since you have two ends coming out together, they become pointy, and they'll start ripping your paper if you don't finish that end. Or if you're going to decorate it, whatever it is you're going to do, make sure you do, because otherwise it'll rip your paper if you don't take care of this on this end. Here you see in more detail what I was talking about as to how you can do your wire. So here I'm putting the little piece inside, and it's going to come out through the back side. But you could do the opposite, where you could do the bend kind of so that it comes inside and the little coil pops in through the middle of your pages. It will probably look cute even. I think I should have tried that, but I'm thinking afterwards, after I see myself doing this, and I think I should have. I wanted to do it that way at first, and I should have done it, but at the end I felt like it helped me work in my process of making up how I'm going to do the binding. Now, in last video when I did this wire binding, in that video I did it where you have another piece of wire, and that piece of wire holds all the three signature wires, and then you kind of loop it into a button. And I didn't want to do that because I liked how my inside was looking simple and clean. So I wanted to have something simple and clean to hold all my signatures together. So I found this pin that I thought it would hold all of them together, and it wouldn't make a mess cleaning it up and look clean. And you know what? It worked out. I really enjoyed how it looked. It looked very clean, very, I don't know, simple. And I kind of, since I like that paper that I used to cover the inside covers, I wanted to keep that going, I know that I tend to be grungy, but I just kind of wanted to keep that cleanness. And for the butterfly pop-up part, I grab a piece of paper that fits the area where the area of the paper, right, where you're going to put the pop-up. So once you have a piece of paper and then you have that scrap of the area covered, what you do is you go in a circle and you go over and over. You go like a winding circle. And what you do with this piece of paper, you have to test it many times and see if it fits, if you need it shorter, longer. And the way you test it is how I'm going to show you how I tested after it was done. I obviously tested it before, because I actually did like 2 more other templates, and not because I don't know how to coil it, but because I discovered that the coil thickness has to be greater when it comes to the outside rather than the inside. So as you're coiling inside your circle, make sure that the outside line, the outside coils, are thicker, and they get thinner as you cut in to the inner side of your circle. So here's, I know it's going to be a little hard to see. Just trust me, there's an acetate circle there. You see, what I did is I put a tape on each of the ends. I closed the book. Then I make sure that when I open it, it was the right way of doing it. The right way, how I wanted it. You can test it in different ways, in different manner. And once you figure your coil out, then you figure out where you want it. Now, what I did is I decorated both ends. And I wanted to decorate the inner panel, the inner cover, and the first page, because that's where I wanted my pop-up for the butterflies. But because my binding allows me to interchange or play around with my signatures, I also wanted to keep that flexibility. And if I was to glue the pop-up circle or coil onto the front page, it would not allow me to do that so freely. I'd have to break something, rip something, or cut something. So instead of gluing it, I put one of those Tim Holtz little, what are they called? Like press, or I don't know if you guys can see it right there under my little label, under the butterflies. It's like a little holder. And so I used one of those to hold my coil. It's not glued at all on my front cover, and it is glued only on the inside cover of the book. And so what I did here is I have a bunch of butterflies that are kind of see-through-ish. So what I did is I cut out the white outline of them, and then I glued a few of them on that acetate strip. I didn't want to like fill it up, but you could load it up. Just what I would just suggest is that every like other butterfly that you put, test that it still shuts good and that it's not like glued in a way that it's gonna mess up your coil, and that it's not gonna bend, or the butterfly is not gonna pop off when you're closing or opening the book. And that's pretty much it. It's very simple. It's fun because you get to see, when you first open the book, it surprises you, like there's butterflies or there's something moving in your page, and then you later see the acetate and all that stuff, but it gives you that first impression. I like to be interactive with my books. That's why I always make sure I use binding that allows me to move or play with my signatures as I go. And then what I have here is I have a lot of pre-stamped labels, and what I do is I use file folders, and I just pre-stamp them in different colors. I have some pre-cut, and then if not, I just have a lot of there, just to, it gives you options of colors, and it gives me options in shapes and sizes. And I find it very helpful. I know a lot of people do that as well. I don't cut them out as much because I don't like losing them or being, it's easier for me just to leave it on the file folder as much as possible. And here's the book. It still doesn't have a front title like in that circle, but I'll think of something. And this is in the back. Put a lot of snippets, the leftover papers, and the signature the maker's label. Thank you guys for watching. I really enjoyed making this simple and easy journal for you guys. Till next time, guys, please stay crafting, stay safe. Love you guys. Bye.